Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you and welcome to the official draw for the Australian Open at 2014, the first Grand Slam of the year. And the draw is not far away. Craig Tiley, the tournament director and the boss basically of the Australian Open, will be joining us on stage shortly. We'll also have Wayne McEwen, who is the tournament referee. And a special treat for you this morning, Boris Becker, six-time Grand Slam champion and these days the coach of Novak Djokovic, is also going to be joining us on stage, of course, a former world number one. Casey Dellacqua, so we've got plenty of Australian experience in there as well, and we will be getting the draw underway very, very shortly. As for our defending champs, they're going to be arriving here in a typical Melbourne fashion. We'll explain that to you a little bit more as the hour unfolds. Plenty of nervous anticipation around the 128 players who are in the main draw on both the men's and the women's side of things. They'll be waiting to see who their opponent is going to be come round one on Monday or Tuesday. Also, plenty of nervous anticipation around Australia. This big brown wide land of ours has been subject to the AO Blitz for the last couple of months. A wonderful initiative from Tennis Australia, part of the building of community, building of participation and basically taking tennis to the people, proudly supported by ANZ and Steggles. Now, the key initiative of the AO Blitz was to try and score as many points as you could for your town in doing tennis-related initiatives. And it's a fantastic campaign that saw lots of people doing things like dressing their dogs as tennis players, maybe making a tennis marathon, hitting sponges around, doing all those sorts of brilliant things. And we'll unveil to you those two towns that have got the top men and top women players. And of course, we'll then unveil the 128 towns that are a part of it. Plenty of prizes still on offer as a part of the AO Blitz. So there's lots of towns, lots of suburbs. We'll be linking them, and the top suburb point or the top town point will be matched with the top players. So the number one and number two seeds all the way down to number 8, and then we'll unveil the 128 players as well. As I said, Craig Tiley, Wayne McEwen, not far away for official proceedings. And of course, thanks for being part of joining our broadcast on ausopen.com right around the globe. So wherever you are, make sure you're strapped in, and for the next hour or so, just enjoy the fortunes of some of our elite tennis players. A little bit more about the AO Blitz. 900 communities involved around Australia, a fantastic effort. 32,000 online challenges completed, 73,000 people nationwide receiving a tennis experience. A world record in parks. Alicia Molik was there. 772 people playing tennis in the main street of parks, and 4.5 million reached throughout the media channels. So the AO Blitz has been a resounding success, as I said, thanks to ANZ and to Steggles as well. Let's have a look at how the AO Blitz unfolded.
The small community of Parks is probably most famous for the CSIRO radio telescope known simply as the Dish. But for one day, tennis took over.
Hi everyone, I'm Liz Cantor and I'm taking on the Newsreader Challenge in the AO Blitz.
Good morning, Mark Peretta here with the latest AO Blitz news.
The previous record for this challenge was held at 658 people, set in New York just before the US Open back in 2011. The new record of 709 people successfully completing the challenge has ensured Parkes might be Australia's biggest tennis town.
Hello and welcome to the AO Blitz social media show, The Land of the Giant
But what's
Cube.
great about the Blitz is there are heaps of great players available. Make sure to show us by going to aoblitz.com.au.
So there you can see plenty of fun was had during the AO Blitz, and the culmination is this morning. We find out which towns are going to be matched with which players. But we can welcome our top town from around Australia, and please put your hands together from Kendal, New South Wales, our Mayor Peter Besseling from Port Macquarie Hastings Council, and our top ranked player Wendy Hudson. The second ranked town in Australia, it was a narrow affair too, from Cooroy in Queensland, our Noosa Council representative, Councillor Sandy Bolton, and our player rep, Rob Schmidt, from the coach, he's the coach of the Cooroy Tennis Club. Welcome to the four of you. Congratulations on being the top two towns as part of the AO Blitz. An awesome effort. And Mayor, I'll start with you. You must have had a lot of fun, obviously, as far as the tennis went, but what did it mean for the community involvement? What sort of numbers are we talking about from Kendal?
Well, Kendal is a population of 1,200 and we had over 300 participants, individual participants. So it's 25% of the town actually participated in the AO Blitz, and that's full credit to Wendy and her crew. It's a fantastic opportunity to get kids out and about, get them active and engaged and involved in a healthy sport like tennis. But that can't happen without the grassroots effort of people like Wendy. So I take my hat off to Wendy for all the effort that she put in.
Well done, Wendy. That's quite a rap from the Mayor. And you're holding up there Rafael Nadal. Now, that was your choice, or your town's choice, to take the top male player. There was also the choice of the top female player as well. Cooroy ended with the top female player. But why Rafael Nadal?
Just the media attention around it. A lot of kids are out there wanting our town to play for him, and we made that decision some time ago.
There was a range of ways to try and garner points. You could get 80,000 points by SpongeBob Spongeball. That was playing tennis with a sponge. Fairly difficult effort. I'm presuming the sponge was actually the ball, not the racket. Ball Kid Blitz, imitator ball kid, that was 100,000 points. 1,000 points just for telling us about your local hero. And Steggles Quality Shot, 2,800 points. Wendy, what was the most popular participation event?
Probably the sponge one. We had 4-year-olds up to 80-year-olds out on court doing the sponge challenge. It was a lot of fun. It was great.
Fantastic effort from Kendal. And now we welcome our Noosa Council Rep, Councillor Sandy Bolton. And Sandy, congratulations for Cooroy, Queensland. You've got the top female. Well done. What sort of participation levels in Cooroy?
We didn't have quite as much as Kendal did. Their performance was fairly outrageous, but we were around the 10%, which was, considering the activity that goes on in Noosa, is quite extending. We were thrilled to bits, and Rob and his team did an incredible job. We're very much a country village, and Rob, I couldn't believe the enthusiasm and the excitement that it put within the community, but also gave that real edge to tennis and also the sporting environment. So the AO Blitz has been one of the best initiatives I've seen to really garner some excitement amongst all ages within the community to take up a racket.
Councillor, you talked a little bit about it being a village. Tell us a little bit about Cooroy.
Karoi is a small hinterland town combined with many generations of farmers as well as people that moved from Melbourne and Sydney as a tree change. Very beautiful, just 10 minutes out of Noosa, so have access to the lakes and the beaches, and a population around 4,500 people, and that 10% were excluded all the school activity, and that was the individual participation.
Sounds like I might be checking in with Karoi exactly. It sounds very, very promising according to the counsellor. For you, Rob, coach of the Karoi Tennis Club, what does it mean to you, and what sort of participation did you have amongst your tennis affiliates and the broader community?
Yeah, we were very happy with the participation. To myself, it was a bit humbling the way everyone came out and supported. All the kids came out and played. We had all the schools participating. And I had very strong support at club level. So all the clubs on the Sunshine Coast, they were involved. I had over 45 clubs supporting Karoi, and it was great to have the kids there. One of the kids had a challenge, an imposter challenge, and she decided to impersonate a coach. And on the video, she's there, and she's running around hitting a tennis ball, saying, "Well, I'm impersonating my coach. He's a bit slow, but he hits some tricky shots." And I thought that was me to a T.
Nice little sense of humour as well. Wendy, what about for your town, Kendall? What was maybe some of the zaniest things you got involved with personally and that you knew about from the wider tennis community?
Yeah, we had quite a few McEnroe impersonations happening, some Novaks, some Nadals. We had some great photos of dressing chooks up, as well as cats, dogs, and all of those type of animals. We also had a couple of backflips in their victory dances, some kids doing some backflips in their victory dances, so that was pretty exciting.
Now tell us about the chooks and the cats and the dogs, because that literally is getting everyone involved.
Yeah, you had to dress up your pet, so there was some really strange photos out there, so it was really great. The whole community got behind it, and I just say let's do some challenges this weekend, and 80-odd people turned up, I think, in one challenge, so it's great.
Mayor, what about Wendy being the driving force, obviously, to help get this across the line and to help make it happen as a part of Kendall and also Tennis Australia's initiative?
Absolutely. It's a big part of being a community, a small community like Kendall. It's getting involved, getting active. There's a lot of kids out there with not a lot to do sometimes. We're in the hinterland, we've got the rivers and the beaches not too far away, but getting involved and doing something they can participate in on a regular basis is an absolute key. And I've got to take my hat off to Tennis Australia as well to link the Australian Open, which is their signature event, to what's happening at grassroots. Really encourages people like Wendy and the club to get behind tennis, to get involved in it, and to get young people loving the game. And that's what it's all about. Whether it be tennis or something else, we want our kids to be active and engaged, and this is a great initiative, a great way of doing it.
And I feel confident that this initiative is going to be, you would suggest, imitated around the world. I know there's already been inquiries from other Grand Slams around the globe and, of course, across other sporting codes as well. So Tennis Australia certainly has maintained the initiative and really taken the lead on involving grassroots supporters. Now, anyone registered with the AO Blitz actually went into the draw to win a Kia Sportage two-wheel drive manual sedan. And Paul Calichetto from Lakewood in New South Wales, who, curiously enough, is a part of the Kendall Tennis Club, as it turns out, a father of 4 children, an active participant, over 180,000 AO Blitz points, which is a phenomenal effort, registered to his name. He encouraged his whole family to get in there, and they scored over 82,000 points between them as well. What an effort, Wendy.
Oh, look, they're a great family. They all play. The boys play in the junior comp. Mum and Dad plays in our senior competition. What a great prize for them, and they're ecstatic. And so is the whole town. They're just, everyone knows everybody. So they're all excited at home and cheering.
To run you through the formula, because Tennis Australia conducted a formula that became a percentage calculated using the town's population, the number of tennis clubs, the schools, and the ratio participating registered participants and the challenges undertaken, because obviously some of the smaller towns maybe didn't have as many tennis clubs as some of the bigger villages, some of the bigger towns, some of the bigger cities around Australia. So there was a calculation in there. Kendall came out number top, Karoi second, and then it was Parkes, Murdoch, Biloela, Warrnambool, Alice Springs, Watervale, Blaney and York. So that was the top 10. So congratulations to all of those towns for being a part of it. The other thing, of course, is there's more prizes on offer as well, because everyone who does register gets a chance to maybe take home a player in terms of the male with the fastest recorded serve, maybe the female with the most recorded aces, the youngest female to make the 2014 Australian Open draw. So, Councillor Bolton, it's something that really is going to live on throughout the tournament, and you're going to have people in Karoi that are going to be very, very keen on how maybe one of their players unfolds.
We're actually doing the Herogram out through all our networks, so that Serena knows that sitting up there in Queensland, everyone's going rah, 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 and fully rooting for us. So I'm sure that that's going to be enough to get her through, as the enthusiasm from the sunny coast and from the whole of Queensland. And that's the beauty of Facebook and all the networks, social networks, is that you can get everyone really on board.
On the female side of things, 9-year-old Gemma Gossow from Rosebery in the Northern Territory was the highest female points earner nationally, and that was at the finish of December 31. That was when the cut-off was. And Gemma's won 2 tickets to the Australian Open 2014 men's and women's final, 2 nights accommodation in Melbourne and flights from Darwin presented by Steggles. Her biggest achievement was raising over $22,000 for the National Breast Cancer Foundation and Prostate Cancer Foundation for getting her family and friends involved to sponsor the waxing of her father's legs. So just about anything was possible. And how's this? Because 2 kids have got involved. On the male side of things, 11-year-old Ethan Phillips from Tagoom in Queensland was the highest male points earner nationally. Ethan also won 2 tickets to the men's and the women's finals. Flights from Brisbane, thanks to Steggles. His biggest achievement, fundraising for charity partners, raising over $1,500 by setting up a stall at the markets and selling clothes on Gumtree. So everyone has got involved at all sorts of different levels. And for Rob, have you seen now an increase in the awareness of tennis and people wanting to play tennis? Because we know that throughout January, plenty of people pick up tennis rackets and want to be a part of the game. But have you noticed that at the local grassroots level as well?
We've noticed a big increase during the year. A little bit early to say what's happening as far as the AO influence, but every year we get an influx of kids straight after the Australian Open, and it really grows our club at the start of the year, and we've just got to be prepared for that influx, and I'm sure the AO Blitz will make it a big influx this year.
And Wendy, what about for you at Kendall?
Yeah, we have 270 members sharing 3 courts, so it's a fight to get on our courts. There's sometimes waiting lists for comps, so we're desperate for courts, and but our courts will be full, and there'll be people wanting to sign up, as they have in the last few days, ringing me. And
Mayor, the town of Kendall itself, in terms of sporting codes, tennis is now playing a paramount part in putting Kendall on the map, and Rafael Nadal will be knowing all about Kendall because he'll have his own cheer squad up there.
Absolutely. Kendall gets right behind it. They love their tennis in Kendall, and they love Rafa Nadal. So they're going to get right behind him, and we're going to do whatever we can as a council to try and support tennis in our community, and particularly support it in Kendall. They've got so many people engaged in that, and it's only right and proper that we support it.
Well, one man who got to travel a little bit with the AO Blitz, his name is Adrian Franklin from Tennis Australia. We'll invite him up onto stage now. Just before we get to the draw, of course, Bruce McAvaney will be hosting that side of things along with Craig Tiley and also Wayne McEwen. So we wait nervously with anticipation for those seeds and numbers to be drawn out, 128 on each side of the draw, and they'll find out their fortunes come Monday or Tuesday here at Melbourne Park. Conditions absolutely superb. But Adrian, welcome up to the broadcast on ausopen.com, and tell us about your experience with the AO Blitz, because I imagine you would have been sitting in business class, cruising around the place, just making sure everything was in order?
Yeah, spot on, Koza, absolutely. I travelled around with all of the Tennis Australia team, and I think we definitely do need to mention the Tennis Australia team because we hit about 103 communities all across Australia, and everyone here from Jared Kennedy to Craig Morris, Rebecca McDonald here, they travelled across the country, and I think you guys would agree that without those guys, none of this would happen. Would you agree? So that's incredibly special, Koza.
Adrian, how were the towns when you got into them? Were they received in a great, joyous fashion where it's like, yes, let's get in behind this, and almost an unbridled passion to be a part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Australian Open, as we know, has a huge brand and it really transcends everything about tennis. So every time we did go into a town, whether it was up in the Northern Territory, I remember the Palmerston Tennis Club. We went up there and it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 40 degrees, and there weren't too many people around. We thought, oh, maybe this will perhaps fail. 15 minutes later, we had hundreds of people at the tennis club in 40-degree heat. They were playing tennis, MLC Tennis Hot Shots, and they absolutely loved it. We're down in Tasmania, Western Australia, every single state and territory. And Koza, this is the first time we've done it, but it's only going to get bigger and better.
It's absolutely going to get bigger and better. If you have a look at the screen behind me, you'll see some of the top seeds and the towns they have been matched with. Adrian, if you can take us through this.
Well, there you go. At the very top, Rafael Nadal is the number 1 seed, of course. He had a sensational year.
Have a look at the smug smile from over here in Kendalltown.
So Kendall, there you go. Pretty good pick. Novak Djokovic, number 2 from Serbia. He wants to take the title out. He's all about the Grand Slam titles. Parks, they got the world record for the amount of tennis balls that were being hit on rackets. We're up in the 750 mark. Incredible. World record. Parks down the back there. Round of applause for Parks. We have them over there. That is a world record, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. David Ferrer from Spain, another Spanish player. There are about 14 Spanish players in the top 100. Absolutely amazing. So Biloela from Queensland. I didn't visit that one myself, but yeah, Biloela. There you go. Perfect. And Andy Murray rounding out the top 4 from Great Britain. Alice Springs, the Northern Territory. The guys from Northern Territory absolutely loved it up there. They could not get enough. Juan Martín del Potro, the big man from Argentina. He's got Blaney in New South Wales. Can some of these guys maybe head out to the towns? I'll ask them. I'm going to interview some of these guys during the Australian Open. I'm going to throw the question out to them. Roger Federer, the big man from Penrith and from Switzerland. I think we can say that, can't we? Thomas Berdych.
He's a mountain man one way or another. Penrith's mountainous territory, so is Switzerland.
Very good, Koza. Thomas Berdych from the Czech Republic. He's going to be there. Esperance in Western Australia. They had a great time during the AO Blitz. And Stan the Man Wawrinka from Switzerland. He is there, South Australia, at Chunga. As it continues the women, Koza.
Yeah, let's have a look at the women. And Adrian, take us through this because obviously we know Karoi has got Serena Williams, and I reckon Serena will be moving to Karoi after your plug. Councillor, it was a fantastic effort. We know Kendall's a beautiful town as well, Mayor. I'm not besmirching Kendall at all. Don't worry about that. But 2 fantastic towns that have got involved. Let's run through the women.
Serena Williams at the very top there from the United States of America, from Karoi, as we know. Then Victoria Azarenka, the number 2 seed. She wants to take it. We're all talking about Serena, but Victoria, she's quietly confident. She's there with Muraduk in Victoria. Then we go down to Maria Sharapova from Russia, also from Warrnambool, this Australian Open. And then Lina, my favourite from China. She is from Watervale in South Australia also. Interesting. We go down to the number 5, Agnieszka Radwanska from Poland. She'll also be representing York in Western Australia. Petra Kvitova from the Czech Republic. She's got Gunnedah in New South Wales. Sara Arani, the small Italian, very short lady. She's representing Sorel in Tasmania. And then we round out the top 8. Jelena Jankovic from Serbia. She will also be from Littlehampton in South Australia, Koza.
Well done, Adrian. Now, we're not far away from the main draw. Bruce McAvaney will be running proceedings on that one. Craig Tiley, the tournament director and now CEO of Tennis Australia, will also be on stage, along with Wayne McEwen, our tournament referee. And we do have a special guest in Novak Djokovic's coach, Boris Becker, the former world number 1 and a 6-time Grand Slam winner. Casey Dellacqua is going to bring to us the Australian flavour. Of course, she's doing so well with Ash Barty in the doubles campaign too. And they are arriving in a very Melburnian experience because they're actually getting a tram here. Hopefully they got their MyKey cards on them to make it all worthwhile and they don't get hoiked off the tram. But they're arriving here via tram. They're not very far away at all. And Victoria Azarenka and also Novak Djokovic will be a part of that as well. So we've got our 2 defending champs, and as we've seen, they have gone to towns 3 and 4 as well. So the main draw is not far away. We'll be able to get to that very, very shortly. But I'd like you to please give a big round of applause to our top town, Rafael Nadal, our Mayor Peter Besseling from Port Macquarie Hastings Council, and our top-ranked player Wendy Hudson, who did dress up her chooks just to make sure she got those extra points, and Councillor Sandy Bolton from Noosa Council, and our player rep Rob Schmidt, also from the Karoi Tennis Club. Please, a big round of applause for all 4. Adrian and I will be back on the other side of the main presentation of the draw. But well done to Tennis Australia, well done to the AO Blitz, and congratulations to Steggles and the ANZ for getting on board something that is a huge part of community participation and community involvement right at the grassroots level. And for the next couple of weeks, we're going to see the elite level as well. Qualifying continues here at Melbourne Park. But on the other side of this, the arrival of our defending champions, Bruce McAvaney. We've also got Craig Tiley, Wayne McEwen, and a whole lot more as we get set for the draw for the 2014 Australian Open.
I think that tennis has always sort of led the way. There's just no safe place to go on the court, you know? It never leaves your racket and you're comfortable. That's an evolution of the game, and something tells me it's not going to stop here. I mean, history would prove that it's never going to stop.
For me, success is when I go out on the court and execute my game. It's just a matter of how well you prepare yourself to be in the state of mind that you want to be out there.
Pressure for myself, there's always that, you know. I want to prove to myself that I can be the best player, that I can beat everyone, that I can do it day in, day out.
In this sport, you're out there all by yourself, and if you're playing in front of 15,000 people, it can be a very lonely place. To be a champion, you have to have everything. You have to be the best competitor, you have to be the fittest, you have to have the toughest mind, you've got to have everything. And to find somebody like that is so tough.
Cameras, is it on there?
Camera 6.
Small margins and small details decide a winner.
You see these guys, the way they move, the way they adapt, the way they fight, and it's a remarkable era.
I do get nervous when, you know, the big moments come around, but you hope that it's exactly right then when you play your best.
No, now you can. Ian, thank you very much for that. Welcome everybody. As Ian said, Novak and Victoria are not too far away. They are catching a tram down here, a short trip, so looking forward to seeing them. And Boris and Casey will be here as well. So just a bit of an overview, I guess. Thanks for coming, by the way. It's always a very exciting half an hour or 3/4 of an hour. Just looking at the field today, for the men we've got 4 number ones. For the women, 7 of the players in the draw have been number 1. We've got 6 major winners for the men, 10 for the women. We've got 3 Australian champions in the men's and 3 for the women. Interestingly, with the seeds from 18 different countries for both men and women, the top 10 women are all from 10 different countries, and the top 10 men, Spain, France and Switzerland, provide 6 between them, so 2 each from those 3 countries. All up, before qualifying finishes, there are 46 countries that are represented, 34 in men, 40 in women, and when you add them all up and do the cross, there's 46. So that's sort of the makeup of the draw. Djokovic, and going for history, to win a 4th. He's the only man to win 3 straight here, but he could be the first to win 5 in the Open era. And Nadal, if he wins, will become the the first man in the Open era to win all Grand Slams at least twice. Federer's playing his 57th consecutive Grand Slam, which is a record. He's been to 10 semi-finals in a row here. Hewitt plays his 18th consecutive Australian Open. The record for men in any Grand Slam consecutively is Agassi, 21 at the US Open. So Leighton's on 18. And for the women, Victoria's trying to do what Steffi and Monica and Martina Hingis did, and that's win 3 in a row. Serena, if she wins this Grand Slam, joins Chris Evert and Martina Navratilova on 18. Trailing Helen Wills-Moody, Steffi Graf and Margaret Court. So that's just a few of the bits and pieces. Just before our champions from last year arrive, our champions from at least the last 2 years, let's go back and have a look at some of the highlights from 2013.
Best memories, it's hard to know where to start. I would probably start with the word go.
There's no better place to be for the opening Grand Slam of 2013. For more than 100 years, the greatest tennis players in the world have made the pilgrimage down under for the People's Championship.
Certainly, competing here is one of the great experiences. Every slam has its uniqueness, but this one had its elements and had its people, and then had its vibe.
We are in a golden era of the sport, and yet they continue to raise the bar almost beyond belief and entrenching our name as the Happy Slam.
I'm just so happy. I enjoyed it.
Robin Mike Bryant created history.
The diagnosis, he's definitely crazy.
Try to thank everybody for making such a huge effort to do such a great tournament. And all the fans, thank you so much, and for all your support. Next one.
So just a few of the memories from last year. Novak and Vicar are pretty close. Craig, do you want to come up for a sec? Craig Tiley, ladies and gentlemen, who's tournament director, but also now chief executive of Tennis Australia.
Hello, Bruce.
Ooh, come over. I think, what do you think, Joe? Back here.
What happens when we get close?
Yeah, we do. We're a bit of electricity in the air. I'll keep my distance from you, not because I don't like you. We're on the foot of the Margaret Court Arena, which is, I guess, the most exciting current development and what's been a remarkable sort of transformation of this precinct over the last few years.
It has. This is the part of our redevelopment that is significant. Probably the most significant. We have National Tennis Centre, which we came online at the beginning of last year, and this is going to be ready to play. We've got 5,000 seats. A lot more shade for our patrons. The roof, we've reminded everyone, is going to stay in the open position because it's not quite yet ready. But 2015 we'll have a retractable roof, and what you see up here will be complete. But what a great opportunity to have a stadium now, which will then be 7,500 seats, and have 3 stadiums with retractable roofs, and no one can beat that in the world.
So this time next year, this will be fully operational for the Australian Open.
Yep.
And an increase to 7,500 with a retractable roof.
Correct.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Craig, we always ask about heat at this time of the year, and we know we're going to have a hot start to the Australian Open, probably Monday, Tuesday, maybe next Thursday. You and Wayne, who we'll introduce shortly, have obviously got plans in place.
We do. On average, over the 14 days, 25 sessions, we have 5 days, this is according to the Weather Bureau, we have 5 days above the 30 degrees. And this year we scheduled to have 6 days. And some of those 6 days, particularly next week, a couple of days will be in the high 30s, at this point maybe even the low 40s. But the great thing is, 3,200 square meters of extra shade on site. more demisters, more of the steamers, more of the water fountains, and a lot of our sponsors and partners are all doing activations around ensuring that our patrons stay cool and go and stand in the shade. We're very lucky that we do have a site that has a lot of shade and also a site that has 2 retractable roofs. So, of course, if we ever had to, because of the inclement weather, we'd be able to close the roofs on the 2 stadiums.
So what happens if it is too hot? All sets are completed.
Correct.
Those matches then cease. The 2 matches that have roofs will continue with the roof over the top, correct?
Correct.
So
Yep.
both Hisense and Rod
And
Laver
Rod Laver.
Arena continue. So that's really in a broad sheet, the policy, is that right?
That's correct. And Wayne can talk more to that. Wayne is the ultimate decision maker on that as the referee and over the rules of the event, and he'll go out and make the final call. But, unfortunately, if it gets really hot and someone's 1-0 in the first set, they've got to finish that set before you actually call the matches off. We've been lucky the last few years. We haven't had to do that. But going into the beginning of last year's championship, we also had several days that were going to be really high in temperature, and they end up having high temperature days, but we didn't have to stop any of the tennis. So we expect that to happen again this year.
Craig, one question I'd love to ask you. How do you decide when one half plays and when the other half? Because you've got a really interesting situation this year, because in the men you've got the number 1 seed, who's a giant in Nadal, but you've got the number 2 seed, who's a 3-time winner consecutively and a 4-time winner, and they're about to arrive. And then you've got Serena and Victoria, and Victoria's won the last 2 and Serena's number 1. So who's got the more persuasive power with you, Djokovic, Nadal, or Azarenka and Serena?
Well, if I actually divulged who that was going to be, we'd have an interesting news media story, wouldn't we? But
is there a bit of toing and froing?
There's always a bit of toing and froing. There's many variables. There's more than 20 variables per match that you actually need to consider. On top of the fact, there's television variables, broadcasting variables. There's match. Some of them playing doubles, some mixed doubles, singles. Like Serena and Venus, for example, are playing doubles together, and so those all have to be taken into consideration too. And the match times between one of the 2 matches, but certainly we'll look at what's best for the patrons and what's best for the players, and we've got it pretty right the last 5 years, and I know everyone's very happy with it.
We're a bit distracted, aren't we? Because we think a couple of very special guests are about to alight from the Melbourne tram, the iconic tram. 2 iconic players when it comes to Melbourne Park. Novak with this incredible record. I mean, if you look back through what he's done over the last few years, he's only 2 defeats since 2007, when he retired against Andy Roddick and when he lost in 5 sets to Joe Wilfred Songa in 2010. So he's got this crazy 35 out of 37 record. He's just about been unbeatable, hasn't he, for 5-6 years here?
He's been brilliant. He's been down here already for 8 days and came down early, loves coming to Melbourne. He likes this court. I think he feels in many ways it's a little bit his house. And, he's only, I think, just a little bit more than 100 points behind Rafa for the number 1 ranking in the world. And it was a tight race to the end who were going to get that ranking. And, he played some brilliant tennis towards the end of the year as well. And seeing him around the site and seeing him on the court, he seems buoyed and seems playing very confidently.
And Craig, you mentioned Rafa. How good is it to have him back? And we all missed him last year, didn't we?
We did. 2013, it was unfortunate, just a couple of weeks before the tournament, he mentioned that he wasn't told us he wasn't going to play and missed the first part of the year. But having Rafa back is a huge boost to the event, and he's been here preparing as well. And they've all been hitting on Rod Laver, Hisense side. Of course, 8 of those are the European clay courts, but there's many places that they can practice as well.
So the Daphne Ackhurst and the Norman Brooks memorial and the 2 champs. So athletes are superstitious, and I reckon you're always going to get Novak and Victoria back if they keep winning, don't you, for this day? You keep doing the same things every year.
Well, I think the athletes like to say it's not superstition, it's just habit.
Yeah. Just transgressing for 1 sec, I want to ask you about Andy Murray, just quickly. I mean, he's obviously okay. He's only played the 1 tournament since the Davis Cup in September.
Right. He's ready. He's also been here for the past week, and he's been hitting up, having long practices, and their camp have informed us that he'd be 100% ready to play.
And I know Novak does so much in his foundation. He has a very, very successful foundation, but I want to congratulate you and Tennis Australia. It was a brilliant night on Wednesday night, and I hope Roger also felt it was a great night for him, because it really was a showcase of a great player and human being, I think.
Well, there's no question. Roger stayed for about 3 to 4 hours after the event. So he left in the early hours of the morning signing autographs. I think at the end he said his neck was stiff from signing all the autographs around the stadium. And we raised over $1 million for the night for both Roger Federer's foundation, the Australian Tennis Foundation. A great initiative, packed stadium. And what a moment. I mean, if you like all of us here that love tennis, having Rod Laver walk out and greet Roger on his court was something special.
And as we watch Novak and Vicar make their way up here, I think one of the most interesting things that's happened in the last 3 months has been all the coaching changes. And suddenly, not only do we have coaching changes, but we have these very famous former players. Michael Chang is here with Kei Nishikori. Stefan Edberg's coming for Roger Federer. And of course, today, I believe Boris Becker will actually be here and he's coaching Novak. It's sort of an extraordinary time in men's tennis, isn't it?
Well, I don't think we've ever seen. Actually, we were talking about it recently. We say our coaches are becoming as famous as actual players.
Can I just stop for that? Because, ladies and gentlemen, Boris Becker is in the house. So, Boris, welcome back to Melbourne. Sorry to. It was Elvis's birthday this week, but to have Boris back in the house is a wonderful thing. Thank you, Boris. It's great time.
No, it is extraordinary, and to have Michael Chang back as well, and even Ljubicic is coaching us. So to have those greats of the game out working with the current greats is fantastic for our sport.
How do you improve a bloke like Djokovic? But I guess that's what I'm going to ask Boris later. I mean, he's a hard man to improve, I would imagine, and I guess Stefan's in the same boat with Roger, isn't he?
Oh, he is. I know that they had conversations at the end of last year about the future, and there's some similarities of how Stefan played, maybe how Roger wants to play. But I think we're for some interesting times this year.
Did you ever play against Boris in your
No,
lifetime?
no, never played against Boris. Are you kidding?
I just wondered. So Victoria and Novak are not too far away. They're about to make their way up, so we'll have a chat, and then we'll go through the women's draw first. Casey will join us, Casey Delacqua, and then the men's draw, and I'm going to have a chat to Boris. Actually, Boris, Margaret Court Arena, there's one little match I might just try and jog his memory. A guy called Omar Camparese. I think he might remember that one. 14-12 in the fifth set out here when Margaret Court looked not Margaret Court herself, but the arena looked very different. It was an amazing, maybe the most famous match ever there, Boris, on that court. Anyway, we'll say that for today, I reckon. So up they come, the two champs. This is terrific, Craig, to bring them through
Well,
Garden
it's nice
Square.
to be able to come up to Margaret Court Arena, a new facility, part of the redevelopment. And last year, if you remember, both of them were on the boat going down the Yarra River towards the Crown. And this is just, again, something different that our team have put together.
Novak had a remarkable year, in a way overshadowed by Rafa, but I mean, he won 7 titles. He's on a long winning streak. He hasn't lost. In fact, Josh was telling me today, his last 10 matches he's played, he's beaten 9 players in the top 10. He's won 24 consecutive matches, and Vicar beat Serena in 2 finals and won a Grand Slam, and they both had great years.
And that's how close both those top 2 players are, both the men's and the women's.
Yeah, absolutely. So they've really made this January in Australia very special for both of them, haven't they? I mean, Djokovic broke through here as a 20-year-old when he beat Tsonga in the final, beat Federer in the semi, and then, as we all know, he's had this long unbeaten run, and then Victoria as well. So they're about to arrive, eh? We're about to be joined by tennis royalty. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.
I'll grab you back in a minute. Is that all right?
That's good. Thanks.
Terrific. Great to see you here, Boris. So, ladies and gentlemen, Novak Djokovic and Victoria Azarenka, our defending champions. join me. Come and join me at the front. Come and join us, ladies and gentlemen, Victoria and Novak. What's so funny, Novak? No, something you can't tell. The tram. How do you handle? Have you been on a tram before?
Yes. Yes, I have, but I never had one operated by Novak.
Yes.
Were you driving?
I was almost driving. I
He was
thought,
gonging.
Yes, I was. I thought I would, but then as soon as I sat on a driving seat, everybody exited the tram. So I didn't want to drive by myself, I guess.
You both had terrific years. Strange years in one way because you don't come back as the number one seeds, but you come back as champions. And you both had remarkable seasons. I mean, Novak, for you, you finished the season in such a great shape and you only lost 2 finals all year. They were big ones, I know, but how did you see your season in 2013?
Well, I have to say I was very satisfied with the year, especially with the end of the year, of course. Playing consistently well on Grand Slams and winning over 20 matches in a row in the last 2.5 months definitely gives me a great confidence boost and great wind in the back for start of this season.
And for you, Victoria, the last 2 seasons you've started so well. You've had unbeaten runs. And then last year was a very strong year. You had an injury at Wimbledon that came at the wrong time. I think you had a bit of an injury at the end of the year as well. But you had some great battles with Serena and you won a Grand Slam. How did you see 2013 for you?
2013 was a really successful year for me, winning a Grand Slam. I was really consistent in the other Grand Slams and had a great final at the US Open. And it was, I had a few injuries, but I think overall the season was pretty successful. I've done things I haven't done before, so I'm really happy with that, and I can't wait to start this year. It's already started, but to be back here at the Australian Open playing again.
Now, I know you never say you're defending, do you? You're not coming back to defend, you're actually starting a new tournament. What's your mindset like, Novak? Because you've been defending for a little bit longer than Vicky.
Well, we just spoke 10 minutes ago about the fact that we're getting used to making the pre-tournament pictures together for 2 years in a row as defending champions, and hopefully it can continue because I love the fact that we have the ceremony of the draw here with the trophies where we get to touch the trophies and hopefully leave our prints up, for next 2 weeks and grab them in 2 weeks again. So, Australian Open is definitely my most successful Grand Slam, my favorite Grand Slam. I love spending time here and it's a start of the season, so I think most of the players share the same opinion. We love the atmosphere, we love the easy energy that goes around, and of course the tennis fever that is in the whole Australia, and Melbourne loves sports and people appreciate and have a great knowledge about this sport. Sorry, so they come in big numbers and they support what we do, and of course for us it's a pleasure to perform.
Vicky, you came back to Australia after the US Open. I'm right in saying that. Did you go to Sydney in September?
In October, actually, yes. I made it to Sydney. I went to the X Factor, and I actually went to the part of the city where I've never been in Sydney, and I got to explore a little bit Australia as a tourist. So it was really fun, and I enjoyed it so much, and it was awesome.
And with the X Factor, is anyone from the X Factor coming out in the next 2 weeks? Is that something that is that?
There was 4 judges, so maybe one of them will definitely show up.
Okay. And you had a romantic year as well, Novak, didn't you?
Yes. Every year is a romantic year.
I'm not good at these things. These are the stats I don't keep. But did you get engaged?
Okay. I know what you meant.
Did you get engaged?
Yes, I did. I got engaged in September last year. Thank you. I don't have a ring.
And is there anything happening this year? Is there any date
for me or for her? A question for me? Well, it might. Let's say it might. Still don't know. But since I got engaged, I haven't lost a match. So I guess that the wedding should come very soon. So I get a little bit more credit for that.
And one last question each. Novak, Boris is here today, and we're all excited about that. I don't think, I could be wrong, I don't think you've been here for a long time, Boris, actually, to the centre. But it's an exciting time in men's tennis with all these champions coming back to help champions, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's great to see Boris back, as elegant as ever. And of course, he's a legend of our sport. He has achieved so much in his career. And you're right, he hasn't been in Australia for 15 years, something like that. And so he's surprised to see how much has been done since then. And it's incredible facilities. And of course, you know, for me, it's an honor to have him in alongside all my other team members. And we're going to try to make a success of our partnership. It's just the beginning. And the other side is great to see that other legends of the sports are also coming and trying to help, you know, the active tennis players in their careers.
And finally, Devika, you've made a couple of changes too, but not your main coach, a couple of other physio and trainer, is that right?
Yeah, I have a few new members in the team, and there are 2 girls, and they're just great energy people. You know, I think it's just important sometimes to have that connection, and I'm really happy with the team, and we had a lot of fun in the off season, and hopefully we'll continue to have fun during the season.
Ladies and gentlemen, media, so much history awaits our 2 champions. I mean, they can rewrite a little more Australian Open history over the next 2.5 weeks. You're always gracious with your time. We love having you here. Congratulations to both of you and good luck. All the best. Thanks, Novak. Now, we need one shot, guys, because the AO Blitz, I'm not sure if you... So Parks of New South Wales is representing... Novak's representing Parks of New South Wales, and Vicky, you've got Miraduc here in Victoria, so we just need one shot of that, if that's okay. Here's the cameras here. So this has been a great initiative by Tennis Australia to take the Australian Open all around the country. So,
how far is Parks from?
Parks is a fair trip from Melbourne, but Miraduc, no, that's closer, Vika. That's a lot closer. You can make it to Miraduc on your day off. Yeah, Parks is a bit of a trip, but worth seeing.
After the tournament, I take a tram and
So after the tournament, Novak's going to take the tram to Parks. I'm not sure the logistics of all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Novak Djokovic and Victoria Azarenka. Good to see you. Good luck. Thank you, guys. Now, I think, Novak, Vika, I think we need you to go, just come across, go and find Prue. Prue's after you guys. Thank you. Craig, would you like to join me? Craig and also Wayne. Thank you, everyone. So Craig Tiley, who we've chatted to, and Wayne McEwen, who's the tournament referee, are both about to join us. Great to have the 2 champs here, so that's terrific. Wayne, I think we'll get pretty much into it, if that's all right with you. Now, Dorothy's going to join us, one of our bull girls.
Yep.
So, Dorothy, thank you. You're going to help with the draw. So we're about to start the women's draw. So I think, Wayne, I might hand it over to you and leave it in your hands, if that's okay.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. First, I'd just like to ask IBM, our official information technology partner and supplier, to randomly place the unseeded players into the women's singles draw.
Well, we've made a splash already with Ash Barty, Wayne, so...
Okay, we'll start on line number 1 with seed number 1, Serena Williams. And on line 128, our number 2 seed, Victoria Azarenka. Seeds 3 and 4 are next. First drawn goes on to line 33. Dorothy, have to pull one out. We have seed number 4, Li Na, on line 33. Last one. And on to line 96. This one. There you go. We have seed number 3, Maria Sharapova. Seeds 5 through 8. First drawn goes on to line 32. We have seed number 7, Sarah Orani. Next one. Line 64 is next. We have seed number 6, Petra Kvitova. Next one. On to line 65. We have our number 8 seed, Yelena Yankovic. And our remaining seed onto line 97, seed number 5, Agnieszka Radwanska. Seeds 9 through 12 now. First drawn onto line 17, we have seed 12, Roberta Vinci. Next drawn onto line 49. Thank you. We have seed 9, Angelique Kerber. Line 80, we have seed 11, Simona Halep. And on line 112, we have our remaining seed, seed 10, Caroline Wozniacki. Seeds 13 through 16. First drawn onto line 16. We have seed 14, Anna Ivanovic. Next one, onto line 48. We have seed 15, Sabina Lisicki. Line 81. We have seed 16, Carla Suarez Navarro. And on line 113, we have seed number 13, Sloane Stevens. We now do seeds 17 to 24. First drawn onto line 9. We have our number 17 seed, Samantha Stosa. Line 24, we have our 18th seed, Kirsten Flipkins. Line 41, seed number 22, Ekaterina Makarova. Line 56, we have our number 23 seed, Elena Vesnina. Line 73, our 21st seed, Sorana Castella. Line 88, we have our number 20 seed, Dominika Chivolkova. Line 105, we have our 24th seed, Kai Canopy. And on line 120, we have our 19th seed, Svetlana Kuznetsova. We'll now do seeds 25 through 32. Thank you. First drawn goes on to line 8. We have our 31st seed, Daniela Hanchikova. Line 25, we have our 30th seed, Eugenie Bouchard. Line 40, we have our 26th seed, Lucy Safarova. Line 57, our 28th seed, Flavia Panetta. line 72. We have our 32nd seed, Magdalena Rybarikova. Line 89. Our 25th seed, Elise Cornet. Line 104. We have seed 29, Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. And completing our women's draw on line 121, we have seed 27, Jamie Hampton. And that completes our women's draw. Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne. Casey Delacqua, ladies and gentlemen. Casey, come and join us. Thank you. Great to see you.
Yeah, you too.
You're looking great. Casey, I'll ask you firstly your draw with Vera Zvonareva, Vera's been twice a finalist in a Grand Slam, but she's on a protected ranking at the moment. Has just come back after. Have you got much history with her? Have you played her before?
Yeah, I have played her previously, a few years ago now, and probably when she was playing her best tennis. So I have experienced a match against her before, but like you said, she's coming back off, I think, probably a good year and a half out of the game, and won't have played a match for a while. So it'll be still tough, obviously a quality opponent, but I'm ready to go, so I'm looking forward to it.
You've had a good summer, haven't you? You've won a match in Brisbane, won a match in Hobart, and you won the wild card here, so you've had a really good summer.
Yeah, it's been really good. I've done kind of all I've hoped for. I would have liked to have won a few more matches and won that match last week in Hobart, but all in all, the body's healthy. I'm playing at a pretty good level, and I'm really excited to kickstart another Australian Open off.
Are you playing doubles here?
Yeah, with Ash again, so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, speaking of Ash, can you look at the draw with me?
Yes, let's do it.
Can you see, if we stand here, can you guys still see all right, or do you want us to go down? No, you're okay. Okay, so Ash has got Serena. Now,
yeah.
That's frightening, isn't it?
Yes. I
mean...
but in saying that, what a talent Ash is, and obviously a great friend of mine, but what an experience for her to be able to play the #1 ranked player in the world in Australia, in her backyard. So I'm really, really looking forward to that match, and I know that Ash will be actually probably really excited with the opportunity to challenge herself against the best in the world.
Serena was about Ash's age when she won her first Grand Slam in 1999, and 17, about to turn 18. So here's now, Sam Stosur, this is interesting because she's playing Zakopalova today in a semi-final in Hobart. So they play today in Hobart in a semi, and then they play in the opening round here.
Yeah, I mean, I think, that's a good matchup for Sam. And obviously, yeah, like you said, she plays her down in Hobart today, and I think they have played each other quite a few times previously. So obviously they'll play today, and I guess take a lot from that match into their first round next week.
So the winner of Delacqua and Zvonareva play Robson or Flipkins.
Yep,
so pretty interesting draw, isn't it?
Yeah, and we had one of our young wildcards, Storm Sanders, last week play Flipkins down in Hobart, lost 7-6 in the third, but, Storm had a really good match against her. So I think that's, we'll see. Hopefully, I get a few more opportunities to play some more matches.
Casey, we'll look at the next. So Lee, I'll just work through these. 41-42, this is a really tough match, Makarova and Venus. I mean, that's a tough for both. I mean, Makarova's been quarterfinalist last 2 years here.
Yep.
She beat Serena here 2 years ago, I reckon.
Did,
so so that's a tough match for both, right?
Yeah, that's extremely tough match first round. Obviously, Venus is probably the most dangerous floater there possibly is in the draw. So to draw a seed, and especially Makarova first round is extremely tough.
49-50s. Now, Miller, look, I don't want to say it, but she hasn't won a match at the Australian Open in singles.
Ever?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I
trust your stat.
No, I shouldn't have said that even. But she's got Kerber, who's in the final in Sydney tonight. It's a tough draw.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup. Kerber's one of the best going around at the moment, lefty. So who knows? Yaka might hit me up for a bit of lefty practice, and hopefully that might help her.
So we'll go to the third quarter.
Yep.
Let's have a look here. Petkovic, good to see her back. Going down. You going, Casey?
Oh, no, I was just going to mention Storm again. She's
91 and 92, so Storm
Sanders has had a really good summer, won some matches up in Brisbane. Last week beat Peng Shui, who's quality opponent. So watch out for Storm. She's got a great work ethic and definitely one to look out for.
Yeah, she beat Peng Shui 6-2, 6-2 in the first round after Peng had been in the final the week before and then lost to Flipkins 4-6, 7-6, 7-6. So now 95-96 is,
Ooh,
I don't
that's
reckon
tough.
Maria's going to love that because Beth knocked out Radwanska, didn't she, in the opening round in Sydney,
week,
and she's just a really good player.
Yeah, that's extremely another interesting first round matchup. You know, I think Maria would be, you know, thinking that's probably a pretty tough first round. But, you know, these quality, like the players like Serena and Maria, they like those tough matches early on. It really sets up, I think, you know, probably a really good level for the rest of the tournament. So it's not always a bad thing to get a tough one first up.
Beth is probably thinking it's a tough draw too. So, and we go to the final quarter where Victoria's on the bottom. So Radwanska, we go down, Kanepi, Mikhail, Wozniacki, Sloane Stephens. Craig's told me everything's okay after the Hopman Cup. What a player she is. So she's on a separate half to Serena this year after beating her in the quarterfinal. What about Olivia? Olivia Rogarska, who's up against Mariana Duke-Marino of Colombia, 117 and 118.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good opportunity for Olivia. She's won a match here, I think, a couple of years ago at the Australian Open, but it'd be nice to see her, you know, make the most of the opportunity with a wild card and get through that match. I think that's a really winnable one for her.
And I think the final one, Jamie Hampton's really interesting, I reckon. She's had a lot of injuries, but she's a heck of a player. She had to pull out of the semi-final in Auckland against Venus, but she did some good things here last year.
She did, and I think this could possibly be the first time she's been seeded at a Grand Slam, so I think that's a really good little section for her, but yeah, very, very good quality player.
Casey made 3 Grand Slam finals last year with Ash in doubles. 2008, round of 16 here. It seems like yesterday, actually. And you look so fit and well, and congratulations. Thanks for coming today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Casey
Thanks,
Delacqua,
Bruce.
ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thanks, Casey. Good luck, love. All the
See ya.
best. You look gorgeous. Terrific. Wayne, I'm going to get some help for you as well. We had Dorothy a minute ago, and I think, is it Finbar coming up?
They're both coming up.
Oh, they're both coming up. So Dorothy to help as well. So Wayne, I'll leave it to you for the men.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to the men's draw now. Again, I'd like to ask IBM, our official information technology partner and supplier, to randomly place the unseeded players into the men's singles draw.
I don't know, cry, I think.
Wayne, what are you doing to us?
I'd like to thank IBM.
Well, it's a sensation, isn't it? Where's Leighton? Leighton's number 10. Sorry, Wayne, it's all up to you.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. Moving on to our seeded players now. On line number 1, I'd like to place our number 1 seed, Rafael Nadal. And on line 128, our number 2 seed, Novak Djokovic. We'll now do seeds 3 and 4. First one drawn onto line 33. First drawn, we have our number 4th seed, Andy Murray. Next one, thank you. And on to line 96, our number 3 seed, David Ferrer. Okay. We'll now do seeds 5 through 8. First one drawn goes on to line 32. We have seed number 5, Juan Martín del Potro. Next one onto line 64. We have our number 6 seed, Roger Federer. Line 65 is next, our number 7th seed, Thomas Berdych. And on line 97, we have seed number 8, Stanislav Wawrinka. Okay. Seeds 9 through 12. First drawn goes on to line 17. We have our number 11 seed, Milos Raonic. Line 49 is next. We have our number 10 seed, Jo Wilfried Songer. Line 80. We have our number 12 seed, Tommy Haas. And on line 112, we have seed number 9, Richard Gasquet. We will now do seeds 13 through 16. First drawn goes on to line 16. And we have seed number 16, Kai Nishikori. Line 48 is next. Seed number 13, John Isner. Line 81. We have seed 14, Mikhail Yuzhny. And on line 113, we have our 15th seed, Fabio Fognini. We'll now do seeds 17 through 24. Thank you. First drawn goes on to line 9. It's seed 24, Andreas Seppi. Onto line 24 is next. We do seed 22, Grigor Dimitrov. Line 41, our 21st seed, Philip Kohlschreiber. Line 56, we have our 18th seed, Gilles Simon. Line 73, we have our 19th seed, Kevin Anderson. Line 88, we have our 20th seed, Jerzy Janowicz. Line 105, we have seed 17, Tommy Robredo. And on line 120, our remaining seed for that group, seed 23, Ernest Gulbis. There you go. Our remaining 8 seeds, 25 through 32. First one drawn goes on to line 8. We have seed 25, Gail Monfils. Line 25. We have seed number 27, Benoit Paire. Line 40. We have seed 26, Feliciano Lopez. Line 57. We have our 31st seed, Fernando Verdasco. Line 72. Our 32nd seed, Ivan Dodig. Line 89. We have seed 29, Jeremy Chadi. Line 104. We have seed 28, Vasek Pospisil. And completing our men's singles draw on line 121, our 30th seed, Dmitry Tursunov. And that completes our men's singles draw. Thank you very much, Dorothy. Finbar.
Thank you, Wayne. So just a minor thing with the men, there is a lucky loser, so there'll be 17 coming from qualifying because of Nicholas Almagro. That's correct, Wayne?
Correct.
So 17. So just before I ask Boris to join us, I mean, big picture, if we get quarterfinals, we've got Nadal versus Del Potro, Murray versus Federer, Berdych versus Ferrer, Wawrinka versus Djokovic, if it all goes to plan. But it's a fascinating draw. Boris, do you want to join me? Ladies and gentlemen, Boris Becker. It's lovely to meet you, Boris.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Do you mind if I chat to you about the draw and then...
Well, I'm not going to give too much away, but you can try.
Okay. Bernard Tomic and Rafa Nadal, we might do quarter by quarter. I mean, for all of us, it's just... it's salivating, but it's horrific as well because it's such a tough draw.
I think it's a night match. It's pretty safe to say that's a night match. While obviously it's probably the toughest first round, just going through quickly. I mean, there's never an easy match anyway, but Bernard's playing well in Australia, and then obviously the number one player in the world. It'll be something everybody will be glued on television to.
They've played once, 2011 here in the third round. Rafa won in 3 sets, but one of them, I think Bernie might have had a couple of breaks. Kokkinakis is one of two very promising players we've got here in terms of our youngsters coming through here. Nick Kyrgios. Now, Leighton and Seppi, they're 3-all. Never played in a Grand Slam. Seppi beat Leighton in Shanghai late last year, so they're 3-all. Hewitt's playing well. You'd be on top of all of that.
Very well. Win of Brisbane a week ago. And always hometown favorite, obviously. Him in good form. First round against Seppi. Well, the problem with not being seeded is you're always going to get somebody potentially that's seeded. But he was looking good last week.
Matosevic against Nishikori, who Michael Chang coaching, of course, who Boris beat here in '96 in the final. I'll just whip through Dimitrov, very promising. Del Potro. Benjamin Becker against Nick Kyrgios. Now, Nick Kyrgios has had a little bit of a shoulder problem, but we've got high hopes for him and Kokkinakis. He actually debuted in the Davis Cup last year, Nick Kyrgios, for us.
Yeah, so hopefully he's in good form again. I was asked so many times, but I have to repeat it again. Benjamin Becker, not related in any shape or form.
But he did beat Andre Agassi in his last match in the US.
He did beat Agassi in his last match, so there was something good for him going.
That's right. We'll go to the second quarter, if that's okay. So Murray there. Lopez, who Judy Murray sort of got a Twitter thing going with, but that's different. I'll talk about that another day. Songer going down. Federer against James Duckworth, who's a wild card for Australia, who we know well here. So for Roger, maybe Andy in a quarter-final. It's a loaded half, isn't it?
It's a loaded half, and that's a bit too far ahead for my taste. Obviously, I saw him the other night against Tsonga, so that's potential round of 16. But then you have some of the other players in there that won't roll over just because he's called Federer or Tsonga. So it's a pretty tough quarter here.
The third quarter, and this is Berdych and Ferrer from memory. So Berdych promising to break through. Tommy Haas at 30. Can you believe anyone flying the German flag at 35 years of age?
Yeah, it speaks for his fitness, his dedication to the game. Obviously, he was out for many years with hip surgeries and shoulder surgeries, but he's a quality player, and he's got his fifth summer or fall, I would say, in Germany.
Jordan Thompson's won the wild card here, like Casey, I should say, and he played very well 2 days ago against Richard Gasquet. He's got jersey, he made the semi-finals at Wimbledon. So we'll go to the final half, and this is the one that the final quarter that you'll have a vested interest in. So Matt Edman against Nicholas Mahut, of course, who made Wimbledon history with John Isner. He's actually in very good form. Sam Groth, who's served at 263 k's per hour, not miles per hour. He's got the record. What was your fastest, Boris?
My fastest was about 240.
240.
And that was with wooden rackets.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And then we're going down to... I've got to say, I reckon Novak's got a good draw.
Well, a draw is never good or is never bad. It's just the work that's cut out for you for the next day, or hopefully for 2 weeks. And any of these guys can play. They're the best 120 players in the world, so there's not an easy match. But the bigger names are in the top half. That's true.
So it is a bit slightly lopsided, isn't it?
I would never say that about a draw.
Okay. Can I just chat to you for a couple of minutes? 15 years, it is a long time. What have you been up to?
A few things. I'm actually on television, the last 11 years, commentating for English and German TV. I have a few other business interests that have nothing to do with the sport. But I'm glad to be back. I'm just amazed how well it has developed. 15 years is quite a long time, not being to Australia, but it's not around the corner if you live in Europe. So, it does take 2 days to come here. But it's wonderful. You've got a huge tournament. It's so popular with everybody around, and I'm happy to be back.
And when you won in 91, you became world number one for the first time. And I think in 96 when you beat Chang, was that the first major you won as a father? I might be wrong on that. I can remember you saying that afterwards, that you were so pleased because you won as a dad. So Melbourne's got great memories for you.
No, it was always one of my favorite Grand Slams. I won it twice, as you said. 96 was special because I've been around the game a long time then already, and to come back as a father to win it again was very special. This place holds great memories for me.
Two more questions I've got to ask you. How did it all happen? I mean, did Novak email you? Did he text you? Did he ring you up? I mean, how did it, what happened?
Well, we live in the age where you have lots of different ways to communicate with one another, and I think everything what Bobby said, I think it's a trend with Murray and Lendl starting off and so successfully, and I think the fact that my old nemesis and friend Stefan Edberg is coming on the weekend, and then I'm back, and Chang is back, and so many former greats have been back, and I think it's something that's some of the top players are thinking about, and then obviously the fact that we've been in so many Grand Slams in ourselves is something that adds to the team, and I'm doing the best I can to help Novak.
Did you get a surprise when you were approached?
There are many things happening behind the tennis scenes that we don't speak on the microphone about. So yes, in one way I was surprised. On the other hand, I wasn't surprised. But I'm happy to be part of his team.
And can I ask you one last question? And this is very self-indulgent. We had Rod Laver and Roger Federer 2 nights ago, and there's a lot of talk about who's the greatest player of all time. And I'll never get another opportunity to ask you. So I'm going to ask you, who do you think? You know your tennis so well, you were a great player in your own right. Who do you think's the greatest player that's ever played the game, in your opinion?
Very difficult to compare generations, but the fact that you had Laver and Federer on the same court hitting balls, talking about it, I have goosebumps myself. I think those two are probably the greatest. I always liked Pete Sampras among the group because in an era when you had a lot of top players playing at the same time, he won 14 Grand Slams himself, but I think Laver and Federer are up there.
Ladies and gentlemen, Boris Becker, thank you so much for coming up today, and good luck with Novak. It's great to see you, Boris.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, terrific. Thank you. And I think that concludes our part of the draw. I know there's some media opportunities with Craig and also with Wayne and with Boris. So there are media opportunities. So go your hardest, guys, and can't wait for the next fortnight. It's the most interesting draw I've ever seen. Thank you.
Best memories, it's hard to know where to start. I would probably start with the word go.
There's no better place to be for the opening Grand Slam of 2013. For more than 100 years, the greatest tennis players in the world have made the pilgrimage down under for the People's Championship.
Certainly, competing here is one of the great experiences. Every slam has its uniqueness, but this one had its elements and had its people, and then had its vibe.
We are in a golden era of the sport, and yet they continue to raise the bar almost beyond belief and entrenching our name as the Happy Slam.
They want to see Roger win. They want to see him go pretty close to taking the championship.
I just thought, I enjoyed it.
Robert Mike Ryan created history.
The diagnosis, he's definitely crazy.
such a huge effort to do such a great tournament. And all the fans, thank you so much, and for all your support.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a draw that was, and certainly from an Australian point of view, there is going to be some intriguing matches. Of course, there's going to be Towns versus Towns in regard to the AO Blitz, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But as we have an exchange of media heading out and townspeople heading back in, if you could please give a big round of applause to the man who is #1 seed in my industry, Bruce McAvaney, and his team, including Josh and Shawnee. Fantastic presentation for the draw. So well done, Bruce. Terrific, and nice to get those sorts of Novak and Vicar and Boris, obviously, and Casey as well. So a terrific part of that. If there is any media still left here, you need to head to the left-hand side. There is hard copies of the draw. They are available. They are printed out. And, of course, Boris Becker and Craig Tiley will be addressing the media as it stands. We'll be going through the draw in detail, especially in regard to the AO Blitz. But I'd like you to please welcome now to the stage the third-ranked town representatives from Parkes. They've got Novak Djokovic, the Mayor Ken Keith, and the top-ranked player Helen McGill. Please give them a round of applause. And from Muradoc, and plenty of good signs from Muradoc. Great to see the kids down the front with all the Muradoc signs for Victoria Azarenka. Look at that, the cheer squad's all ready to go. That is outstanding. Muradoc Victoria is in behind Vika Azarenka, and a couple of tennis reps in Reece Driscoll, and also from the Crisp Tennis Centre, Christine Beeson. Please give them a big round of applause. And the man who's going to help me dissect all this in terms of the AO Blitz is once again, I'd like you to welcome him back to the stage, Adrian Franklin.
Hello, hello, hello. Muradoc are here, Kozo. Just look at them right there.
Have a look at that.
Awesome.
That is cheering, and I reckon you're a pretty good chance for back-to-back-to-back, as they say. Adrian, let's start by having a look at some of the slides, because we now know who is playing who and which town is involved. And if you look to the big screen behind us, take us through how it's unfolding.
Yep, so the big man, Novak Djokovic, from Serbia, but he's also going to be from Parkes during the Australian Open, as we've mentioned, playing Lucas Lacko, who's representing Mount Gambier. So as Bruce mentioned, Novak's got a pretty good draw, so he'd be confident going into that one. So perhaps Mount Gambier a little bit unfortunate, but I reckon we'll see how it goes anyway. Victoria Azarenka from Belarus, and also from Muradoc, taking on Johanna Larsson from Sweden. And I reckon she's got that one, guys, for sure. So Muradoc will go through to the next round, I would say, for sure. Bondi, thanks for hanging around, but it's probably a bit tough, I would say, on that one. As we flick through to the next one, we'll get to the Australians at some point as well, Koza. It's been incredibly difficult for them, as we saw. We got Leighton Hewitt there. He's from Australia, and he's going to represent Northcote, which is just over there, not too far away, taking on Andrea Seppi, who's Italian, but he's also going to represent Home Hill from Queensland. Let's hope Northcote can continue on. Bernard Tomic from Australia, also from Gawler in South Australia, taking on Rafael Nadal from Spain, also representing Kendall from New South Wales.
Now, I want to know if our people from Kendall are actually going to be barracking for the Australian in that contest, or whether they're going to be barracking for their hometown hero. So a tough ask from the people of Kendall.
Very, very tough. I reckon, I mean, as Bruce said before, they played back in 2011. It was competitive. Bernie, he's come a long way, so you never know. Maybe he can snatch a set and gain some confidence. Sam Groth from Australia, he'll be representing Brown Hill from South Australia, taking on Vasek Pospisil from Canada, who's been playing well, and he's also representing South Australia. Bullaroo there. That's going to be tricky. I reckon 50-50 on that one. Let's hope Sam Groth can go through. But yeah, the Australians have had an incredible draw. It's been really difficult. Ash Barty obviously playing Serena Williams. But there we've got Milos Raonic, who's actually from Canada. He's going to be representing Murrayville in Victoria, taking on Daniel Jimeno Trava, who's from Spain, and he's representing Victoria as well. Bring along. I think that's probably how you say it. Raonic will go through, I reckon.
Almost needed Andy Murray to be associated with Murrayville, didn't we? And we could have saved Milos for somewhere the Canadian flavour.
Well done. Well, there's Sam Stozer. So she's representing Doncaster, which is not too far away from here, and she's taking on Zakapalova, who's also from North Melbourne in Victoria. 50-50, they play a semi-final today. So let's hope Sam can go through. We're all going to be watching very closely on that one. Casey Delacqua, she was on stage before from Australia. She's also representing. What do you reckon about that one, Koza?
It's Albucacha. It's not far out of Horsham, and there is basically a lake and a tennis club. That's what's at Albucacha. And I think all the farmers come in from the precincts. They play a bit of tennis. They might have a couple of frizzies as well, and then they head back for a bit of harvesting.
I'm pretty glad you're here. So she'll be taking on Vera Zvonareva from Russia, but also representing Alvia in Victoria. Casey, she's going to win that one. Ash Barty from Australia, also from Docklands, taking on Serena Williams, who is representing Karoi in Queensland. What do you reckon?
Question for Karoi. Who are you barracking for?
Ashley, of course. We've got Muradaka representing
Nil all
everyone
draw.
here. Muradak, well done. Very well done. That's tough. Eugenie Bouchard from Canada, the youngster. She is, Coz, I'm going to leave that to you. Where are we at? Waganya in Victoria. And then she's taking on Hao Chen Tang, who's from China, but she'll be representing Bellarive in Tasmania. Bouchard will win that one in my mind. So the Victorian town will continue on, Koza.
Well, there is a fantastic run through of some of the towns because it now, for the AO Blitz, becomes town versus town. It's quite extraordinary. We have got an opportunity to chat with the people from Parks. I'll start with the Mayor, Ken Keith. And the AO Blitz has been extraordinary. We heard from our top two teams. What about for you guys? Novak Djokovic, and I believe you got to meet the great man. Is that correct?
Yes, we did. Had a chat with Novak out the back, and it was wonderful to meet him. And Helen McGill, our wonderful tennis coach in Parks, was beside herself when had the chance to give Novak a cuddle.
Gave Novak a cuddle. Gee whiz.
Novak likes cuddles. He loves cuddles.
I think Helen might like them too. What was it like? Tell us, what did you talk to Novak about?
Look, we just talked briefly. He was aware of the world record AO Blitz Challenge in Parks. And
772?
Yes, and we did mention the Elvis Festival at Parks as well, and that he'd make a wonderful Elvis if he came to Parks for a visit. So we look forward to that in the future.
Well, I think he's got a pretty handy following anyway. Helen, just in terms of the AO Blitz and all the fun things that people could do to get involved with fundraising, playing tennis, just any sort of tennis capers, what was it like at Parks?
It was incredible at Parks. We had a great community following the whole AO Blitz initiative, you know, Tennis Australia, the online competition of doing challenges, just getting people involved in tennis. That's what we wanted, just participation and getting people to pick up rackets and go out and play. So we had a lot of challenges. We had all our schools involved. We had 4 primary schools, 1 high school. They were all involved. We had our club massively involved. We won the club competition section by over 1 million points. So we're pretty proud of that. But yeah, we just had a great time and a lot of fun completing all the challenges.
Okay, to Muradak and our tennis reps there, Reece Driscoll and also Christine. And Reece, I'll start with you. Muradak, you got the defending champ Victoria Azarenka.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with that. She was aware that quite a few of our players had impersonated her in the AO Blitz, so particularly the grunt. So yeah, she was great, guys. She said, "Listen to me, work hard."
Yeah, so everyone got to meet her. Is that right? Was that with some of the kids as well?
No, we didn't all get to meet her.
Oh, okay.
I'm just passing on Vic's message to our
Fair
players.
enough. Okay, and Christine, what was it like for you, obviously, being a part of the tennis community there at Muradak and a great campaign to come forth?
Yes, we were very surprised with our position. We're a very small country town and we tried to get as many of our community from Crispy Indoor Tennis involved. I think we had about 53, which is basically it's not really a club, but it's where we all play tennis and where all these kids down here come and get their coaching from Reece. We had a couple of days where we had people come out to the court and we did the court hog blitz and all of these guys down here were involved in that and that was a bit of fun. And yeah, we've all just had a great time and a bit competitive with, you know, keeping on top of everyone else with our individual points, and so it's been great fun.
Please give them a big round of applause from Parks and from Muradak. Ken Keith, Helen McGill, Reece Driscoll and Christine Beetson. I'll get you to pop off the stage that way because coming on, and don't give him hip and shoulder on the way through, he's got a wild card into the main draw. Of course, has appeared here at the Australian Open previously, and he is the man with one of the fastest serves going around, which is also a potential win as a part of the AO Blitz, 263 kilometres per hour. He did it at a Challenger event. Please welcome Sam Groth. Welcome, Sam.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I'll start with, because we'll get the slide up as to who you're playing and playing for in just a moment, but let's start with your preparation. How are you travelling on the way into the Australian Open 2014?
Yeah, no, I'm going really well. You know, I started up in Brisbane, made my first ATP quarterfinal, which was nice, and then lost a tight one to Radek Stepanek last week in Sydney after leading 5-3 in the second set tiebreak, but, I'm confident going in.
He's an unusual cat, isn't he, Radek Stepanek? He's pretty hard to play. There's all sorts of tricks come out of the bag. So you must be fairly confident with the way you're moving and what you're doing?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I had a really good off season. I put a lot of hard work in December, and I'm probably coming into this tournament feeling as good as I could possibly feel.
Sam, who have you got in round one? There we go, Vasek Pospisil. So you are representing Brown Hill in South Australia. Vasek, what are your thoughts?
It's not a bad one. I know he actually pulled out injured in Chennai a couple of weeks ago, and he didn't play in Sydney last week. But I'm sure he's gonna come in firing. I think people are a little bit cautious. The week before the Aussie Open, so I'm sure he'll be ready. But I'm excited. Like I said, we've probably got pretty similar games. He's another big guy with a big serve, and I'm just looking forward to getting out there.
Last year was one of your best years on the tour. You've spoken about Ben Mathias, the work that you've been doing with him, an Australian coach that's working with a lot of other young Australians. Talk us through, that relationship, because he's clearly improved many areas of your game.
Yeah, I mean, Ben's been awesome for me. He's not just got my tennis side of things in check. Obviously, that's one of the big things, but he's sort of calmed me down a little bit mentally. I'm still fiery, but I'm not losing my mind, which sort of helps. And I'm in probably the best physical shape I've ever been in. I've dropped since this time last year about 10 kilos. So, Ben's been great for me, and he's been great for all the guys he's been working with. And I guess it's a relationship that I'm excited about for the next year as well.
We've seen the draw unfold. Is there much talk amongst the players about, you've got this person, Leighton and Bernard have obviously got some pretty tough asks early on. Ash Barty's got a particularly tough ask. He's extraordinary, along with Bernie as well. But is there talk amongst the Australian players, the Australian community, about how the draw is unfolded?
Well, I guess the thing is, we've all done so well this summer that there's not that many guys around yet. Bernie's still up in Sydney, and Marinko only lost last night, and Dux is coming down today, but we only lost doubles yesterday in Sydney. So a lot of the guys are still sort of coming in, which is good, I guess. There's definitely some tough draws, but I think the guys are coming in playing well. We had 3 guys in the quarters in Brisbane for the first time since 2004 at an ATP event, and I think there's a lot of confidence with the guys now, and we've got a good group, and everyone's pushing each other and supporting each other, and you never know if there'll be an upset there somewhere.
And while we've got you here, there are many Australians in the draw, so let's touch on a couple of them. Thanasi Kokkinakis is taking on Igor Sishling. What are your thoughts on that one?
No, that's not a bad one for Thanasi. Igor's good. He's been cemented in the top 100 now for a few years, and but I guess there's a lot worse draws that you can get than Igor. You could have Bernie's draw.
And then we've got Nick Kyrgios, who's another youngster. 2 of those guys, Thanasi and Nick, doing incredibly well. He'll take on Benjamin Becker.
Yeah, also not bad. Ben's been around for a long time, but sort of guy that's going to make a lot of balls and run. And Nick's going to get a match out at Kooyong today against Verdasco, which will sort of hopefully put him in good stead for that.
And what about this one? James Duckworth, another Australian coming through. He's taking on a guy, Muradak, you may have heard of him, Roger Federer.
Yeah, that's tough. I think Roger's won here 4 times maybe, so it's never easy playing a guy who's won a tournament 4 times, let alone probably the greatest player of all time. But I'm sure Ducks will enjoy the experience, and like I said, you can never write anybody off.
Is it possible to go into a match like that without looking at the person on the other side? I mean, you've clearly played some big names. How does it work?
It's tough. Especially a guy like Roger. He silences the restaurant when he walks in there with the other players. So he has an aura about him. But you try and do your best in terms of not trying to look down the other end. But it's tough playing a guy like Roger too. You hope to get the Aussie support when you're in Australia, but those big guys command support and respect wherever they go. So hopefully the crowd still get behind Ducks, and I'd love to see him give him a run for his money.
And Koza, just one final one. Grothy, we know you're from Melbourne, so who's going to be here? You'll have a lot of people hitting you up for tickets, I imagine. Have you checked your phone yet?
Nah, phone's off. Got a lot of mates come January, that's for sure.
But family and friends will be here. Your family obviously will come and watch you.
Yeah, no, everyone will be here. I'll have a lot of support, and hopefully a lot of support from all the Australian public as well. So, whenever I play, everyone get down and support me. I love a crowd and love a few obnoxious people out there. So, yeah.
Please give him a big round of applause. He's a man with a tough ask ahead of him, but I think he's up to the challenge, and good luck against the 28th seed, Sam. Just quickly running through the Australians, the notable mentions, as we talked about, Leighton Hewitt is representing Northcote, Bernard Tomek Gawler in South Australia, which is just near a town actually called Hewitt, so a little bit of irony there for Bernie. Matthew Ebden from Elston Vale, which is up near Lennox Head. Sam, Brown Hill Creek in South Australia, so he'll have lots of friends there as well as being in Melbourne, Adrian. Milos Raonic from Murrayville, Sam Stowes of Doncaster, Casey Delacqua, Alba Kutcher in near Horsham, Ashley Barty, the Docklands, Olivia Rogalska from Melba, and Eugenie Bouchard, who's the Canadian from Waganya, and just up near Albury, Wodonga. So plenty of contest still remains in the AO Blitz, because the fact is there's still prizes to be won for a whole raft of different things, Adrian.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the AO Blitz is going to continue all throughout the Australian Open and into next year. So there's a whole new element to the tennis. We've got a couple of other matches here I'll touch on. Marenko Matosevic from Australia. He'll take on Kei Nishikori of Japan. That's going to be a very tough one. Marenko's been in good form working with Mark Woodford at the moment. Then we've got Matt Ebden, who will take on Nicolas Mahut from France. So 50-50 there on that one. And Jordan Thompson, as Bruce McAvaney mentioned, he won the Australian Open wildcard playoff. But he takes on Jerzy Janowicz, and that is going to be incredibly difficult, Koza.
Don't mind Sam Groth for this prize, though, because there is a prize for the fastest recorded serve. So Sam, with his team at Brown Hill Creek in South Australia, could be a genuine chance of that. There's prizes for the youngest female player to make it into the 2014 main draw. So we're going to know a little bit of that once the qualifying is done. The oldest female player, the male with the most recorded aces. So there's a whole host of prizes, thanks to Steggles and ANZ supporting the AO Blitz.
Yeah, I think his serve was, 263 kilometres an hour. There'll be the serve contest down on Grand Slam Oval, Koza, so plenty happening. It's going to be an exciting time. We're not too far away.
Now, plenty happening at Federation Square as well, the AO Blitz site.
Federation Square?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we don't just have tennis here at Melbourne Park. We spread it down there. The big screens will be continuing, so you can go and watch the finals down there and other matches. So it's not just here at Melbourne Park. We take over. It's not just Richmond or the city area. It's all of Melbourne, all of Australia.
Beautifully done, Adrian. And of course, on behalf of everyone that's been a part of this morning's coverage, Bruce McAvaney hosting it, Craig Tiley and also Wayne McEwen, a tournament referee and also a tournament director. It has been a wonderful draw. It's going to provide some intriguing first round encounters, especially featuring the Australians, obviously. Lots of local content in there as well. And for the internationals, there's going to be some tough asks too. So thanks for spending a little bit of time on ausopen.com, and make sure that you open another browser now on your website to follow the qualifying, because we're into round 2 ahead of the finals tomorrow for qualifying, and there's going to be 16 out of the men's qualifying plus one lucky loser, and 12 out of the women's qualifying as well. So the qualifying will continue on Australian Open TV as a part of ausopen.com, so make sure you tune into that, and Brett, Matt and Dan and the rest of the boys will be commentating that for the rest of the afternoon. Perfectly sunny conditions here. We do thank ANZ and Steggles for getting on board with the AO Blitz, a terrific initiative from Tennis Australia and resounding success. So we know where Rafael Nadal's support is. We know Victoria Azarenka and Novak Djokovic and Serena Williams, and there's going to be plenty of towns getting in behind their particular player as a part of the Australian Open 2014. I'm Ian Cohen on behalf of Adrian Franklin. Thanks very much for watching. It's bye for now.
The small community of Parkes is probably most famous for the CSIRO radio telescope
known simply as the dish. But for one day, tennis took over.
Hi everyone, I'm Liz Cantor and I'm taking on the Newsreader Challenge in the AO Blitz.
Good morning, Mark Peretta here with the latest AO Blitz news. The previous record for this challenge was held at 658 people, set in New York just before the US Open back in 2011. The new record of 709 people successfully completing the challenge has ensured Parkes might be Australia's biggest tennis town.
Hello and welcome to the AO Blitz social media show, The Land of the Giant Cube.
But what's great about the Blitz is there are heaps of great players available. Make sure to show us by going to aoblitz.com.au.